All right, my loves. We are live for day 14 of the God Wants to Talk to You challenge. And this one, this is now, this must have been Sunday. Yeah. And my general goal was to write before I would drink alcohol on that day, which usually alcohol, it only happened for dinner. Um, but that day, I forgot to write that day. And because I have this challenge, I knew that I would have to write at night. And so then I had a bad consciousness. Like I felt bad, like, damn, I forgot. Felt a little bad about myself, about this thing. And so exhausted after a long day in the sun and then dinner and like a couple of glasses of wine. I came home and after taking a shower and putting on my pajamas, I laid. I was laying down in bed and it's like, okay, let's write. And I could barely keep my eyes open. If you see the handwriting, I mean, you won't recognize it, but it's like it's very wild. And that's when some magic begin to unfold, which it always baffles me because I'm like, okay, so create like the best conditions and um like be in a pristine state of mind and um and that's me. And then I read Seth Speaks, which is like one of the very early channeled works of Jane Roberts. And it's so funny because these recordings now when I channel, like when I actually get download and something's coming through, I can grab my phone and just speak into it. It's being recorded. But back then it was like, when did they record it? When did this happen? Like I believe it was like 1970 or something. So what they did was her husband would sit down next to her whenever she would go into this trance state and would channel this being Seth, and he would sit down next to her and just write and scribble as quick as he could, to write everything down that would come through. And they write, like in the book, she writes everything that Seth, gives her, and she's supposed to bring into the book because they're writing that book together. It's like they're the deal that they have made. And and then she's in that trance state. So she's kind of gone, but she can still navigate her body. And then in between the recordings, she would still be in the trance state. She would get up, Seth still speaking through her, and Jane, though, would just take her body, go to the kitchen, and grab a beer and a cigarette and just have a beer and a cigarette while she was channeling this amazing content. So when I read that, I was like, all right, I think I can relax. And so in this case here now, where I forgot to write during the day. Then I had my couple of glasses of wine and lay down, exhausted, and wrote. A piece started coming through, which I didn't realize because I was so exhausted and a little dry, to be honest. It like progressions of this initial thing here kept dropping in the past, let's say 2 days, like 3 days, like the day before yesterday, and then yesterday another piece dropped, and that's I know that this is, like, an important piece for me, and that is also the reason why I write these letters and then come here to contemplate, because in the contemplations, in the speaking, for me, there's a lot that's, you know, taking foot kind of in my consciousness. Just thought from the higher realms, which it's landing in a statement, in a sentence, in a letter, even, and then kind of like begins to live and reveal more of the wisdom, more in because there's so much depth in it. Yeah, and I just wanted to open this live stream with this information. Um, and then I'll read the letter. And I think today's letter, which this is day 14, today's day 17. So today's letter, sorry, was about that again. So we'll circle back in the next couple days. Let's see how far I actually come. Having multiple live streams a day is a little bit exhausting, but we'll see how far we get today. This is day 14, and I'll read the letter now, contemplate a little because this is still dropping, and then read the letter again, and then we move on to day 15. So picture me exhausted, in bed, little drunk, writing. Dear God, what would you have me know today? My love, more, wait, my writing is not that good. My love, move from love and desire and breathe through guilt, shame, and a bad consciousness. Yes, it is good to be devoted, but the same action carries a completely different energy depending on your inner state. Before you move, clear the energy around the move. It is essential that all movement happens in the right, most beneficial energy. This can also be done in hindsight. You can clear your energy around any event or action from the past. For today, my love, rest. I am right here. And I loved walking with you today and taking all those beautiful pictures at the beach. It feels good to be seen by you. I love you, God. Sorry. Yeah. So I actually also, because it was so important, like I am, a six line in human design. All I do is think and contemplate and philosophize. That's my life. But sometimes I really feel how something significant is coming through. And then I, it feels all of a sudden like the air around me gets a texture, which I know from psychedelic like trips of any kind, like psychedelic mushrooms, when you begin to see deeper into the reality that's surrounding us, that I can then see the electricity, the life force running through plants, the air, everything, my skin, everything. I just see deeper into reality. And when like a significant download comes, it, I think because my consciousness just opens in that moment, like the download can come because well, that's an interesting contemplation. See, all I do is contemplate. And then I go down into the next rabbit hole and the next rabbit hole, next rabbit hole. Um, the contemplation that just presented itself to me was, is my channel open and that's why the contemplate like the download drops, or is a download dropping and that's when the channel opens, which is this is a very, very interesting and important contemplation for me. And sometimes I think about how other people must would feel if they could look into my head, which anyone who follows me along does. Good luck to you. To me, this is very important, very, very interesting. Um, so when those moments happen, which it happened yesterday, and I recorded an audio for my Universal Love channel on Telegram, where all the big breakthroughs and like downloads that land, and the moment they land, I grab my phone and speak them in there into this channel. It's free. You can join. You can find it on my Facebook and YouTube too. YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. I've put it in my like profile information. I don't know how to call it. But the link is there. You can join via the link. It's a Telegram group. And yesterday I was actually at a beach bar with my siblings and my dad. And we were sitting in our hometown, beautiful weather, hot, summer weather actually. Um, and we all had our drinks. I had no alcohol in this case, and I yeah, yesterday I didn't have any. I just mentioned this is not important, but I just mentioned it because before I spent a whole couple minutes to talk about how I had a couple of glasses of wine, but yesterday I didn't. And then this download dropped, and I just, without saying a word, I just stood up, grabbed my phone, and just went off to the side a little and recorded this voice note. And what came through, what is coming through more and more. So the piece that we know, that I knew before to be true, to know, like in a, like it's a known piece that it's not about what we do, it's about how we do it, or more precisely, who we're being while we're doing the thing. And you can pull this apart in many ways. The way I like to pull it apart is who I am being is more important than what I do. What I do can hold multiple, an infinite amount of multiple different energies, essences. And it's about the essence, it's not about the form. The energy that we are, that everything is, can move into any form. Same thing. Should I, have a YouTube channel? Should I do only writing? Should I go live on WhatsApp? Oh, WhatsApp. Can you go live on WhatsApp? I don't know. Probably not. I don't know. Choosing the form for our content, for our teachings, for the way we want to speak to people. The form is always secondary. What is important? Arguably, the only important thing, and that is what's coming through with these pieces, which this one, Sunday night drunk at the Baltic Sea, was the first piece, and then the pieces keep coming now. Arguably, it is the only important thing. The energy in which we're doing stuff. So before, which this um like is a little bit jumping a little bit ahead now to the pieces that have just dropped yesterday, but whatever. I can do a thing, and let's say I do a thing in a bad energy, whatever bad is, non-beneficial. That thing that I do in that energy is then going to propel me in this direction, which I want to go here. That's where life wants me to go. That's where God wants me to go. That's where all the beautiful things are that I am desiring in my heart. So this thing I'm doing, I'm doing in a bad energy, which propels me by doing the thing in this direction. Same thing I can do in a good energy propels me in the right direction. And before I thought, well, if I'm doing something good, let's say go live every day on a platform on social media, well, that's a good thing, right? So if I'm doing it in the right energy, then it propels me really far in the right direction. If I'm doing that good thing, going live every day, in a bad way, well, it's still, g- going in the right direction, but not so far because my energy is not right. That's what I thought. What's coming through now which this will all land more and more and more now in the next couple of days, is that it's actually the case that the bad energy can wreck the whole thing. And it's not so, and that it says, like, it says, my thoughts say, my downloads say that if I apply any movement on bad energy, which here am I being somebody in a certain energy. Let's say this is a bad energy, and I apply any movement on that. The more I move, the more I go live on social media, to take that example, in that bad energy, the further away it actually propels me from where I want to go. So it's not that with the bad energy, I'm just, stifling my growth and stifling my progress, and just it's not really, working so well. It's actually pushing me in the opposite direction. It's actually harming my progress. So that means, whereas before I would have said, well, do the right things and, ideally do them in a good energy, because then things work well. But if you do the right things, and it's not the right energy, well, it's good that you still do the right thing. I have to reverse that. I have to reverse it in a way with what's coming through now, that all movement, all doing must come from a clean place. And if we cannot reach a clean, energetic place within us, then better not move at all. Because negative, bad, non-beneficial energy connected with doing is actually taking that bad energy and giving energy to it, and like giving movement to it, which before it was just us being, and being a little frustrated, doubting, and not being in a trusting, surrendered, open-hearted state. And that's just us being. But there's no harm in being that, and alchemizing that in rest, in just being, in meditation and journaling and feeling it. You have to have a cry, go watch a sad movie and cry. But then you can alchemize and clear that energy. But what we don't want to do, and that is what I begin to realize now, is to apply movement to a negative energy. Okay. Because this is landing, and I keep saying this, but the talking makes it clearer and clearer for me. But we'll leave it at that, because I know it's coming back up. We'll leave it at that, and then let's see what comes through as we continue to deepen that. All right, my loves, I love you, and I'll see you soon.